Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the All Systems Go podcast. I'm your host, Chris L. Davis, and we have back for the third time, everyone, the third time, our very own. I'm saying our because this is a family event. If you haven't realized by now, you know you all have been listening. I'm meeting some of you in person now. This is like real community, real audio community. So we've got our very own Peacey to come back and give us updates on all things ActiveCampaign. We're talking about latest features, a big update that I will let Kay display for us all. And for those of you who are new to the podcast and you're like, huh, what family? Kay, what? 3 times? What did I miss? Let me do my proper introduction. Peacey has honed her email marketing automation skills to the very highest level over 6 years of consulting and training for small business. She's a world leading ActiveCampaign specialist with a seat somewhere that I will not announce. I'll let her announce where this new seat is. But she is the perfect person to help your business unlock bigger return on investments from your email marketing automation wish list while keeping the human touch. She founded the Active Campaign Academy at her own company, Slick Business, and she's also partial to using the Lego minifigs for paper airplanes to drive home the learning. Kay, welcome to the podcast. Again,
Aw.
times 3. How are you doing? And we can't wait to hear about this new announcement position that you have.
It's been a great start to 2023. I am so happy to be back here with the automation family. I love being part of this. It's just so exciting, isn't it, Chris, that when we started out doing this automation, nobody even knew what that was. Now we have our very own automation family and we're right at the top table. That is exciting to me.
Very,
And I'm delighted
very.
to be here.
Yes.
So yes, exciting news from ActiveCampaign. And this is something that users have needed and wanted for a really long time, but without necessarily being able to articulate what it was that was missing. I'm going to say it was missing from the ActiveCampaign world. And it's about this close connection that tech companies really need to have with the end users. They need to get tight with them because the people who use the platform every day, they know it in a really different way. The people who use the platform in real businesses to solve real problems, we know that tech and we experience that tech in a very different way to the engineers or the strategists at the company or the venture capital people, anything that's going on behind the scenes. It's like they're the sales company for the car. We're the people who are driving it every single day to get our daily stuff done, right?
Yeah.
So for a long time with ActiveCampaign, there was a disconnect. It started off great in the early days when ActiveCampaign was quite small. And then as it grows and you get more and more users and more people on the team and it's growing and that's really exciting and fantastic. And the platform's growing, the features are expanding. And then there can be a disconnect. And this is what happened with ActiveCampaign. And what I am delighted to say is that they have pulled back from that because they have now created their very first customer advisory board, bringing real users and partners of the platform, the people who really care about the platform but are not employed by ActiveCampaign, getting them right close to the people who are making the decisions in ActiveCampaign and listening to them.
Oh, I love
this
it.
is a revolution for users. It really is.
Yeah. And Kay, I'll say this. The most important part for me is that it relieves the weight that a lot of software companies erroneously place on their employees in understanding marketing and real life use cases in the industry. Right?
Yeah.
Now they can get it straight from the horse's mouth. People who are out here on the field doing the thing, right?
Yeah. That just nails it. That nails it so well. Of like, people expect ActiveCampaign team members who may have only been with the platform for 6 months or a year. They often come to the support desk or to their advisor with an expectation that they're going to be able to explain how to use ActiveCampaign to solve these real problems or get a return on investment in this specific situation. And it's, to me, that's an impossible ask of someone.
Yep.
It's not fair. It's not fair to keep putting people in that decision and asking them to guide the development of the platform without having that experience. It's basically in the trenches, right? You have to get in the trenches to really understand and feel and experience how a platform works in real life for real humans. And I think handing that burden to me, I've been wanting this burden. I've been wanting to do this the whole time I have been with ActiveCampaign, because as a teacher, I think this bit is important. I'm a teacher. That is what I do. I spend my time thinking, how can I make this thing easier and click for a human so that they can be able to just do it without crying and swearing and giving up. Mm-hmm. This is where the Lego and the paper aeroplanes come into it. You've got to have things explained in a way that the human brain can understand it. Engineers are not the best people to do that. As much as I love them, they do great work. Engineers are not teachers. So when you go into a platform and you see things like a word that's used in 3 different ways and they all have different meanings, I can tell you immediately that is going to cause problems for every single person who sees that. And it's not fair, right? And it's making life totally unnecessarily hard for everyone. So I've been dying to get to the top table and say to the people who are making the decisions, okay, you need to change this one word and it will all fall into place. And hallelujah, we're here. This is really exciting for me.
And, to your point, there was what I believe an unofficial advisory board in the very beginning. And it was just by the nature of them really listening to the audience. That's how I got pulled in. Shout out to Adam Tuttle. But the first time I signed up for ActiveCampaign, it was accompanied with a personal call with Adam, who walked me through how people are using the platform and gave me some examples of some of their top users. And even when I said, where are the tags at? I'm coming from Infusionsoft. It's nothing but tag land. And this was before ActiveCampaign had tags. And before you know it, like 2 to 3 weeks later, there's tags. I was like, whoa. This is like lightning speed. This platform, they're listening, and they kept listening and they kept listening. And then at some point, and it always happens when there's fundraising, and it's not the money itself. It's just like the demand of growth and scale and priority shift. And before you know it, you become tone deaf to the market that got you to the place that you are without realizing it. And it's good to see them get back to themselves, right? I've seen other companies, Kay, take years, more longer than ActiveCampaign, to really realize, we stopped listening. Thus, we're out of tune, we're out of touch, and we need to right this wrong. So it's unfortunate that it happens, but it's always good to see a course correction. Tell me this, there may be somebody listening like, wait a minute, I've got so many good things to say about I've got so much good advice and so many people that I'm helping. How do I get on the advisory board? Not that I'm asking you for ActiveCampaign's process, but how was that with you? Was it just a simple reach out like, hey, Kay, would you like to join something special? Was it something that's been in the works for a while? How did you experience the onboarding of this opportunity?
That's kind of a hard one for me to answer. Like, as far as I'm aware, my understanding is that they will be bringing new people onto the customer advisory board each year.
Yeah.
Because it's really important to have representation from people who are in the different branches of ActiveCampaign users, if you like. So people who are coming from the partner applications, people who are resellers, people who are enterprise level users, someone like me who's like in the head of the small business users, and then just a small business user who's not like a meta person like me, but who's in there really experiencing the platform. And I'm not party to the criteria they use, but I see this lovely representation, and I know that there's a really strong intention to make that better. I think my journey to it has just been completely unique, if I'm honest. I don't think there's anyone else in the world who is quite so obsessed with ActiveCampaign and doesn't work for them. It's weird. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, yeah,
I have been at them this whole time, putting myself in that place of bringing them things that they need to hear. You know, like the critical friend. Sometimes
yeah,
you need to hear stuff from someone who really cares and wants, desperately wants, really meaningfully wants success, not just for that piece of tech, but for the people who use that tech, and someone who can bridge that gap. And I've always done that right from really early on. And to me, this is the culmination of many years of representing users and advocating and showing that the knowledge that a meta user like me has is really deeply valuable and necessary to the success of a platform like ActiveCampaign to
yeah.
maintain that closeness with users.
Yeah, so key takeaway, everyone. There's a advisory board that is hand selected and very diverse. These are all words that you're listening for to be excited about whenever there's a company that wants representation of the marketplace or access to that, to better improve the product. So this is great. Again, congratulations, Kay. The second I caught wind from you. I was extreme. It made perfect sense. I was like, this is a no brainer. It, you know, should have happened a year ago, or, but whatever. Things happen when they happen. But so glad that you're on there. And in that, is there anything that you can share with us, that not release dates or anything, but maybe priorities, focused conversations, that we can be privy to in terms of things that may be coming down the pipe, as well as some of the newer things that are have been released?
So I can definitely talk about things that have recently come out that are very, very user centered. And the thing I'm excited about going forward from there is that the things that I'm party to as part of the CAB process are very intentionally user focused.
Yeah.
That's the bit that most
Nice.
makes a difference for me, and that I know I am 100% confident that things are going to improve for users regularly going into the rest of 2023. And that's amazing. So things that have changed already. We've got multi-select on tags when and this is going to sound really obscure, but when you're looking for a segment of people who have this tag and this tag and this tag and this tag, you used to have to put them in one at a time. That could
Oh
get
yeah.
really tiresome. But now we can just take the tags. And that's like a revolution.
So simple but so effective. I haven't used it yet because I rarely use it, Kay, because I can only look at one tag. So I always go into the segment builder. So that's a list
Right.
drop down that I
Right.
very rarely
So
use.
it's been
Wow.
these restraints have been actively preventing users from doing more complex and ambitious things because it was just too painful to do them. And
Yeah.
I'm the same. There's stuff I don't go near it because I'm just like, I just cannot deal with that interface. It's going to take me half an hour and I have not got the patience. So I'm just going to find some other way to do it.
Yeah.
So I know where all these holes are, right? And what's really interesting and exciting is seeing ActiveCampaign fixing those things, and not only that, but going a step further and making them much, much better than even we would have hoped for. There's a really trivial example I'm going to throw in there, which is alphabetization. Just having a drop down when it comes out and it's in like the order these things were made. That does not help the humans who are trying to work with ActiveCampaign and our
Absolutely.
squishy idiot brains who need to scroll through stuff and find it. Alphabetize stuff and magically a whole load of stress and problem goes away.
Yeah.
So this comes back to what we were saying before, which is the engineers and salespeople and technicians and company development people who are amazing strategists and brilliant at growing their company. If they're not in there using that platform every day, they're not feeling that pain in the same way. You got to feel the pain, identify the fix, tell someone who can fix it, fix, gone.
Yeah.
That's the magic that's at play here.
That's perfect because they're strategizing from that technical vantage point. And then because they're strategizing, the developers and product folks, because they're strategizing and building from that perspective, they know. They're like, oh, well, just do this. It's like, no, the end user, by the time that feature reaches the end user, they don't know that that's what went behind it and all of this coding and that's how it's supposed to
Yeah.
display. They're just confused because they just created a tag. It started with a W. And all of a sudden, they don't know where, where it's at. They can't find it because it's by some method of date created or, whatever the case may be. Where now
Right. Yeah.
alphabetically, I can say, oh, W, let me just take this little bar and just drag it all the way to the bottom because I know W is at the end of the alphabet. you know.
Yeah. And what's really lovely is seeing there's an uplift in feeling. You can feel it
Yeah.
in the ActiveCampaign communities. So there's the big ActiveCampaign official Facebook community where you see that there's definitely less grumbling. Already this sort of cranky downward emotion is lifting. I feel like a cloud is moving on. And I'm certainly feeling that in my community on Facebook and in replies I'm getting to my emails. It's different. It feels like we have an optimism, and we're now able to start thinking about our wish list items, which is where we go even another notch up from there. So something brand new that's just come out, and I know I tagged you in the post on this because I knew you would be
Yes.
interested in this, is list status. Yeah. So just to go into a little bit of background for the non-ActiveCampaign people, lists are weird in ActiveCampaign in some ways. Historically, it's been a bad idea to have a lot of lists for all sorts of reasons. But one of them was that we weren't able to search easily to check someone's status on any given list. Like, are they hard bounced? Are they actively subscribed to it? Have they unsubscribed from it? What else? Have they never been
Yep.
added to it in the first place?
Mhm.
And these are subtle things that a lot of people inside ActiveCampaign, I think, were not aware that users really needed to know. They needed to be able to search on this stuff. And just this week, we have now got a really thorough, well-worded set of list conditions, and it has revolutionized how we can clean up contacts who should not be there, or recognize contacts who should be there and are valuable to us, and check where they're at in terms of, are they subscribed? Can we send them emails or not? What's going on? We can search on all that stuff, and that happened this week. Hallelujah. Yeah.
This is huge, and I feel like the people who really appreciate this are the people who appreciate a clean list, right? If you don't appreciate, and the appreciation of the clean list comes from knowing how much better your deliverability is, how much sharper your marketing is when you're marketing to people who actually are engaging. I think that's where this really hits home, right? Because now when I'm going
Right.
to clean up my list or even identify what my true list size is, there's still people that look at the all list. They don't even know on the dashboard. You can hit that little drop down and select from all to active.
Yeah.
Now we've got
Yeah.
even more granularity that says, okay, within that active bunch, who has been on this list, who's bounced, who's never been added to this list. So you can just start to identify holes. For me, when we were engaging on LinkedIn and I was just asking for use cases, it was a little harder for my mind to go around it. And I'm a little unicorn in this, right? A little biased because I used to be the director of education at ActiveCampaign. So I had to know all of the rules. And one of them was every contact must exist on at least one list. That was one of the first statements I was saying onboarding when new employees would start so that they would understand. So I didn't have a lot of use cases where contacts were in my database and not on a list, because I had this rule of thumb ringing. Every contact must exist on at least one list. So even if the integration didn't do it, the automation did it. However, when you're out in the wild and these automation or these integrations are just tagging contacts, that's it. They don't add them to, they don't add. You brought
Yeah.
this to my awareness, Kate, and I was like, oh, wow. So now you
Oh.
can go and do your maintenance and ensure and find those holes, those integrations that
Yeah.
you need to couple a automation that subscribes them to a list, or just holes. Wait a minute. They should have been on this list after they did
Oh,
this. What
yeah.
happened? Now you can go troubleshoot.
Yeah, and it's so massively important. And I know you touched on deliverability, which is critical. We need our emails to actually get to the inbox, or what the heck
Yeah.
is the point of all that effort? That's important. We need our people to be engaged. We need them to click on the emails. That's really important too. And it's
Yeah.
more rewarding to us if our audience is engaged, because then we feel great. It's like, yay, everyone loves me and my
Yeah.
business. I'm great.
Yeah.
But as well as that, we need to keep an eye on the cost of our ActiveCampaign accounts, and your count of contacts who are actively subscribed to at least one list. That's the defining thing for the cost of your ActiveCampaign account. So you need to be able to keep a very tight handle on that, especially since all the pricing changes. That's become dramatically more important to ActiveCampaign people to do that. And this change just makes all of that possible in a way that it wasn't. And I have come across so many accounts have come in, either when I was doing consulting, but also into my ActiveCampaign Academy. People come in because they know they've got some issues, like they've looked under a rock, they've hit that show me all contacts, and they've found 40,000 contacts who are not subscribed to any list. And they're like, whoa, where did they come from? What are they
Yeah.
doing here? How did they get here? Were they
Yeah.
ever on a list? Or did they unsubscribe from a list? Now we can tell the difference. That's the first time we've had that ability inside ActiveCampaign.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, just a simple is not on list and has never been added to list. Just those
Has
never been
never been added.
possible. It's never been possible.
And I'm,
Now we
I
can
am
see.
happy. I am proud to say that I was involved in the conversation that got that wording pinned down and made that happen, because we've lobbied hard for that for a very long time. And that shift in intention from ActiveCampaign to listen to and to respect and value the experience of users is a palpable change.
Yeah. Yeah. There's
Very, very welcome.
There's another feature that I wanted to just bring up and make sure that everybody's privy to. I try to use these. So everybody, we bring Kay on at least quarterly. And if you all want to hear more from Kay, feel free to email us and let us know. But we try to bring her on at least quarterly to make sure that you are all up to speed with all things ActiveCampaign. And one of the features that I realized maybe a month ago was automating one-to-one emails. So I know this has more of a sales trend to it, but it's using an automation. So historically, everybody, automations are one-to-many emails. But now within an automation, you can have a one-to-one conversation, which in my mind for sales prospecting is probably the most applicable use case for it. But I wanted to highlight that feature just so people know it's available, and give you the floor, Kay, and if you've seen people use it, or if that's opened up any other opportunities or possibilities.
Great question. And it is a brilliant feature. The first thing I want to say about that is it's only available on Pro and above plans. So it's only Pro and Enterprise who have access to this. And that's really important to know, because on the lower level plans, you can still send personal one-to-one emails, but it's a much more manual process. We have a feature called saved responses, where you can do pretty much the equivalent thing, where you're going to put some copy into an email. It's there, and you can, with saved responses, you can tweak it for every send, but you can't automate that. You can have it like your canned response, but then you have to go send it for that specific contact. Sorry. What's different with what they call the one-to-one personal emails is that you can put them inside an automation. So it creates this wonderful process of a one-to-one, very personalized email conversation, but it's much more automated, meaning you can scale it up a lot better.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not seeing a lot of people using this, because in my world right now, the majority of my ActiveCampaign Academy members are typically using Plus, the Plus level of ActiveCampaign. So they don't have access to that feature. The ones I do see using it on Pro, one of the major wins with it is that the replies, the conversation is now threaded. So that's a big improvement, because it's made it I'm trying to think, what's the qualitative change being able to do this in automations is that it now feels like what it is, which is a real conversation in a real inbox. And we can automate it without that showing on the surface. So we can scale up while still being and appearing authentically, completely human and one-to-one. You can even take it further. If you get really swishy, you can start to use custom contact fields to put in a paragraph of text that's specific to that one contact. So if you want to take it a level up, you can go up from there, and there is some power under that hood.
Yeah. So those of you who often have this statement, I see other people doing automation, but I can't do that because I have to be personal with my outreach. My marketing has to be personalized. You're starting to be equipped with more and more tools and tactics to be able to achieve that at scale. So now you can have one-to-one at scale, not one-to-many, but you can have multiple one-to-one threads going now, and let the automation do the heavy lifting for you. So that was a good one to see. Anything else, Kate? Any small UI changes or interface tweaks, or like you said, alphabetizing, things of that nature that we should be mindful that, sometimes they just drop it in there and you got to kind of stumble upon it and be like, hey, wait a minute, I think I can now do this.
Yeah, I hear you. And sometimes this happens to me live. So we run office hours calls twice a week in the ActiveCampaign Academy, and they can bring anything. And often we're screen sharing. And someone will be doing something. I'll be like, wait, what? Go back. What was that? What was that? One of the ones I saw recently was a segmentation condition for text fields. And the condition, there's an option in the middle one where you can choose contains any of.
Yes.
And I was like, wait, what's that? How does that work? Because I had never seen it before. Yep. Did a complete double take and then had to get back in the thread of the conversation. But afterwards I followed it up, and you can put in a list of comma separated values, and it will return with a yes if the text value contains any of your comma separated items. What can we do with that? We could look for,
oh my gosh.
Yeah. Anything from a selection of postcodes or
I had one use case. There was a company, a very large database that just seems to be, people don't know it by looking and I guess by following me, but I tend to attract big databases, right? Like, hey, Chris, I've got 1 million. And it's like, how? How would you know? But
it's because you look so trustworthy, Chris.
Right. So I had this database and it had deliverability issues. And what we wanted to do was isolate the sending to particular email addresses to understand, or domains, to understand which one of these were the culprit of driving down the deliverability. And it was your usual Outlook.com, iClouds, sometimes Yahoo and Hotmails. Like any Microsoft email usually drives it down. And Gmail, within like out of 90 days type time frame windows, they get really, really restrictive. Gmail is like, hey, look, they haven't opened one of your emails in the last 2 months. No more. So Gmail, it has better deliverability, but they get strict quick. Not to turn this into a deliverability episode, but I bring that up to say, can you imagine, Kay, my segmentation off every email extension? If they have this or this, because you think of the main ones, but then all of a sudden there's like, people still use AOL.com. Who, and you start seeing all of these extensions. Well, now instead of having all of these and or clauses, which by the way, everyone, you've only got so many of those in the segmentation builder, in the segment builder. Now I can have that comma separated, has any, and just have Gmail, Yahoo, this and that, and then have that be my segment.
Yeah. And you can roll that out really, really easily. And you can also roll out variations of that really easily. Because if you throw in something like Airtable, to create your list of comma separated values,
Yes.
that's like a 2-minute job, where before it would have been horribly painful and we would have been trying to find some admin assistant that we could palm it off on and say, please do this because I just can't face it.
Yep. Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah, the power
So,
is more in our hands to solve the
oh
real
man.
business problems. And I'm seeing a consistent flow of often improvements to existing features, not new features,
Yes. Yes.
but rock solid and very much wanted improvements to existing features in a way that matters to the users.
Yeah, end
Yeah.
users. Hey, everybody, this is what we're looking for. Okay. You have two approaches to building software. One you should be adverse to and go the other way. One you should embrace. And the first is just throwing everything at you. Look at all of these features, and it looks good on the surface, but usually it's poorly executed. And then so those are the type of companies you want to stay away from. They make great AppSumo products. They make great shiny object syndrome satisfiers. They're all of that, but they have no substance. They look good, no substance. Then you have the other side where it's appearingly minor things, but they're extremely useful. So like that checkbox of being able to have multiple tags, that's not something that you would put on LinkedIn or social and be like, look, you can select multiple tags now. And everybody's like, oh my gosh, I have to have that. That's more of, once you've used the tool, you understand the power of such a feature. So when a company is able to start to have that type of precision with executing on their features, that's what you want to pay attention to, because they can't get there by themselves. Hence what we started out talking about, is they have an ear for the market and they know the precise update. So like you mentioned, Kay, it doesn't always have to be a feature release. It could be an existing feature update or improvement. It's all the same in terms of the value that is received. And as you said, also, there's a collective sighing happening in the industry, like, finally, that's like, if there's a product, if the product owner is listening to this podcast, that's the biggest accolade you're ever going to get, is the collective sigh of, right?
Yeah.
That's your job well
Yeah.
done.
Yeah. I gotta say, it feels good. It feels really good.
Yep.
I'm very happy to be where
Yeah.
we are with ActiveCampaign because, realistically, I've spent 7 years now
Mm-hmm.
immersed
Mm-hmm.
in this platform, which means you come to know it in a way that's so intimate and deep. And I certainly would not choose to jump to another platform unless I
Yeah.
really, really had to, because that's not knowledge that you can let go of easily. It's a bit like the London taxi drivers. They study for years until they know every back road, every
Oh
shortcut, every
wow.
one way, where the traffic lights are slow. They know it. And it's called the knowledge, and you have to pass an exam. We don't have an exam for ActiveCampaign. I would pass it. I'm just saying. But you don't want to be letting go of the people who have the knowledge. You don't want to
Yep.
be letting them move away from your tech. You want to be keeping them there by showing them that you care enough about their daily experience. And that is what we have with ActiveCampaign.
Yep. Yep. Love it. Kay, I can't have you on and let you go without asking probably the biggest elephant in the room. Right.
Uh-oh.
At this point, it's multiple elephants in the room, and you are in no way responsible or on the hook for any insight. However, yes, no, to keep it easy and protect your confidentiality if there is some. Have you seen anything to be excited about in terms of a new segmentation handling process?
I saw that coming about halfway through what you were saying, and I should have twigged early because we've had this conversation every single
Yep.
time we meet.
Yep.
I am excited for the year ahead. I'm really excited for what's coming from ActiveCampaign because I know that they are listening and that things are coming that are going to serve our needs. on the segmentation front.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm 100% confident that things are getting better.
Yeah. I'm going to double down on this because I've got a little insight. Um,
Ooh.
I have some resellers in my community, as well as just connection with resellers. And some of the conversations that they have been telling me that they're having make me smile like the Joker, ear to ear. And the fact, my consolation is the fact that these conversations are taking place. So
Right.
ActiveCampaign did release a video maybe a month and a half or so ago. I don't know if it just went to people in the certified or reseller community, but one was sent to me. I can't even remember how I got my hands on it, but it was, I think, two of the product owners talking about their upcoming approach to the features and everything that they wanted to add into it. And it was kind of like bittersweet. It was sweet to see, like, oh man, segmentation done and measurable. They're thinking about being able to measure segments and growth of segments, things of that nature. So that was the sweet part. And then the bitter part was like, there were no screenshots. There was nothing to actually show that this thing is taking place. So it seemed kind of half baked to like try to hurry up and get out. But since then, in my community, I've been talking to the partners. I said resellers are actually partners, certified partners in my community as well as outside. And without them knowing each other, the collective conversations have been very similar. And the things that are
Yeah.
being focused on are very exciting. So I'm gonna keep pushing that button for this to be launched, because if there's anything holding the platform back from reaching that next level of marketing enablement for their users, it's segmentation. And once that is in place, Kay, I think that we're going to see, it's almost like you can only dream so far right now. Your ideas can only go so far right now. But when the segmentation is opened up, it's going to unlock a whole nother way to use and leverage automation within the platform. And that's what I'm excited about. What is about to unlock that we can't see right now, right?
Yeah. Do you know what, Chris? We should schedule in a party, right? When
I
we
agree.
get a segment manager, which we have been talking about.
Yep.
I think it was on one of the podcasts from you way back in the day that I first
Mm-hmm.
listened to when I was baby ActiveCampaign.
Yep.
We know we want this. We are going to throw a party when this comes out.
I
And
agree.
I'm confident that we're headed in that direction. Bring it on, ActiveCampaign, because I'm so with you. Once segments as a thing are surfaced in that platform and visible and intuitive, it is going to blow the lid off how people use that platform. Not just new users coming in, but people who've been using the platform for years and have not been able to get their head around it, because at the moment it's buried. It's buried under a ton of difficulty that doesn't, in my opinion, need to be there. But I understand from an engineering point of view, things are more complicated than that. You
Yeah.
can't turn it around on a sixpence, but the intention is there.
Yeah. Yeah. And just to get you all excited, I'm gonna say something real basic. What can you imagine a day in ActiveCampaign where you can duplicate a segment? All of those if else and conditions go over, and you could just change one or two
Chris.
and have a brand new segment waiting there, instead of having to rebuild it from scratch with two windows open to make sure you're matching all your if else.
I'm just going to have a little daydream now.
Right.
I'll just have a little nap and dream my little daydream.
Just dream with us,
It's on
everyone.
my wish list.
Yep.
It's on my wish list.
Yep.
And I get to share my wish list with people who are making decisions at ActiveCampaign via the customer advisory board.
Yep. Yep. Well, great. Kay, we appreciate you here in the Automation Bridge community. And it looks like the appreciation is definitely there in the ActiveCampaign community as well. People should know by now where to connect with you. You've got the top ActiveCampaign community online. I think we can confidently say this, Kay. I'm in the space agnostically, so I go across all these communities. I have not found one greater. So if people
Oh,
have not heard or don't know how to connect, how can they connect with you? Go deeper with Active Campaign. Stay in the know.
oh, bless you. That's such a lovely thing for you to say, Chris. My Facebook group, free community, is called Automate Your Business with Active Campaign. It's got my picture big at the top, so you can't miss it. You can find it by going, if you type in slickbusiness.co/group, that will take you direct to the Facebook group. We've got a free training called Accelerated Active Campaign, which you can find on our website at slickbusiness.co. And when you want to go a notch up from that, come find me in the Active Campaign Academy, because that's where you get the direct access to me. We do the strategy, the technical stuff, we do the hand holding, the growth cheerleading, the whole works. And it's like micro consultancy on tap as many times a week as you need it for as long as you need it.
Yep. So we'll have everyone, the show notes, we'll have those links in the show notes. For those of you who couldn't wait, you typed it on your phone while you're listening, slickbusiness.co/group, and you may be in it by the time I finish the outro. So, Kay, I can't thank you enough for your time, your free giving and sharing. We look forward to the next recording that we have, the updates that we'll be able to talk about, the new possibilities we'll be able to leverage with Active Campaign, but more so just knowing we've got one of the most stable and consistent human beings that know Active Campaign in you, and we've got that access. So that makes me happy. So thank you just for being you, Kay. Thank you for being you.
Oh, Chris, you're making me blushy, but thank you. Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to be here and to share that with the wider automation community and like come out of my little Active Campaign niche and talk to the wider audience. It's always a pleasure.
Yes, yes, greatly appreciated. Listeners, you are also greatly appreciated for your time to tune in to this episode. So thank you all. And everybody collectively continue to automate responsibly, my friends.